Hello and welcome to our second session on the economics series. So today we are dealing about how economy works. So this lecture is basically divided into four parts, and today we are dealing up with the part 1 from the perspective of prelims and mains. So let's begin up with the agenda today. So I'll directly tell you the end goal, like why we have planned this how economic work series in a 4 different part is that we wanted to cover everything in a economy. Like we wanted to start from a very simple term like transactions, and we wanted to end into how why the central government has gone into inflation targeting, what is a fiscal deficit number, why the government is tapping the offshore market for the government bond borrowing, and etc. We wanted to end up with that complex topics in a very simple way, so that you can write your UPSC mains answer and your prelims questions in a very simplistic terms. This is a very basic agenda. Second agenda is also that in future we will be covering the economics survey and the union budget for FY20 lecture as well. But to understand the economics survey and the union budget, it is very important to know about how economy works. Only then the projections, the import export data, why this import export data has behaved like that, how the high frequency data works in an economy becomes clear. It becomes clear only when you are very firmly and very clearly believed in the basics of the economy. So that's the agenda before taking up these lectures before the economic survey and the union budget. So let's begin. So agenda, as we said, we are beginning with a very basic terms like transactions. Then we will move on to credit. Credit is the most important term in an economics. Then we will slightly go on, we will introduce the banking today. Definitely we are not covering the banking as a whole in part 1, because banking is a part 3 in the economic series. But yes, we will know how the banking works today, and then we will go on to UPSC mains answer writing and the UPSC past prelims question. These two topics are these two segments you will find in every single slides we cover, or in every lectures we take. So let's begin up with the simple definition of transactions. So usually transaction is like how much you spend, or like what you buy and what you sold. That's a simple definition of transactions. Now let's see the definition of total spending. Scenario 1 is cash, scenario 2 is credit, and scenario 2 is cash plus credit. Now let's understand what is total spending. Say if you are an aspirant and you are staying in a New Delhi on a hostel or on a PG, so you might be having a pocket money of say 100 rupee. It's just a sample number, and you go into grocery store, buy 100 rupee worth of goods. That's your total spending. Simple. So pure cash can also be a total spending. Let's see from a credit perspective. So you don't have any money right now, you borrow it from someone, like say you borrowed from C 100 rupee, and you go into market and spend that 100 rupee. So again, this is a total spending of you. So even credit can be a total spending. Usually total spending is cash plus credit. So this typically works into real estates, where you pay a cash or transactions, or like electronic transactions via down payment, and you go for a loan, real estate. So that is your total spending. So total spending is equal to cash plus credit. So this is the total spending in an economy. So whenever we are asked like the government is spending this, so you should be very well clear that it includes the cash spending also, and it includes the credit spending also. So this is the whole concept about the spending. Now let's see second important concept on price and value. So when we speak about price and when we speak about value, so price is usually constant for everyone, and value differs why this happens. So say for example, if someone is very hungry, very hungry, and if you wanted to buy him a burger, so a typical burger cost like a 30 rupee an average. So the price for that burger is 30 rupees for you. But someone who is very hungry, very hungry, for him the price of that burger is different. For him the price is like, it's priceless, so he cannot count that in a price terms. So that's the value. So now to give you an economical definition about the price and value, so let's take an example of stock market. So say stock and say company. So say for example, we are looking at a Maruti stock. So currently it is at 6,000 level odd. So this 6,000 is a price of that stock. Now people buy this stock so that the value in future becomes 10,000 or any random number. So we cannot really think like where the Maruti stock will go in future. So people buy at this price so that they get the value in future. Understood? So whenever you are looking from a stock perspective, you speak about the price, and whenever you are looking from a company perspective, you look about the valuations. So this is the basic difference between the price and the value. So yes, so the very important thing, like the concept of price and value, you should always keep this thing in mind, that whenever you get an essay, say for example where you are asked to write about, or any social essay, so you can include this price and value thing in your essay, and you can underline that point. Trust us, these technical points will give you a very brownie points in your essay. Like say for example, if you are asked about a water crisis in Tamil Nadu, so you can include this price and value concept in a very good language. Like when you are sending a water train into that Tamil Nadu, so government is bearing a price, but the value the citizens or the community in Tamil Nadu gets, that is priceless, and that is the value of that thing. So you can really articulate this price and value thing. So at this point in time, you should take out your essay notes, or wherever you are making the essay points, and note this point, price and value. You should always include this point whenever you have a social essay. So let's move on to the next topic. So let's look at the credit at this point in time. Say if there is a guy named A and there is a guy called B. So these two are basically friends, and A is a seller and A wants to buy thing. So what A will do, if A doesn't have cash today, so he goes to B and says, I want that thing, but I will pay you in future. So what he does is this future agreement, so the future agreement becomes credit. Understood? So what happens here is, like, he will give the credit and he will receive goods. So while the settling term, he will acknowledge when he will give the cash. So in this term, this cycle gets settled. So now let's see this something in detail. So yeah, we spoke about the relation with debt, we spoke about the creation of credit. Now let's move on to the banking system. What is the bank? How does the bank make profit? Like, what is the very simplistic business model of a bank? So you go for a deposits and it goes for a loan. Say for deposit, so if you have the money and you go to the bank and say bank will give you 7% on your deposit, and bank will give loan of the money you deposited. Let's take number for a simplistic thing. Say for example, you deposit 100 rupee with a bank. So at the end of 1 year, bank will give you 107. bank has given say a loan of rupee 100 to someone. Actually this doesn't happen because CRR comes in between, repo comes in between. We will speak about this term when we look about the RBI lecture. As of now, think like this, that there is 100 rupee in a bank and bank is giving 100 rupee loan. So at the end of 1 year, bank will get 108 rupee. So what bank will do is, like, bank will give you, from this bank will give you 107 rupee, and this 1 rupee is a profit for a bank. So this is how the banking works. So this is a very simple definition of a bank, and this works in a very complex transactions. Like, this is only 100 rupee, bank works in a millions and trillions of dollars. So imagine, so this is where the banks make profit, and this is the only business model that exists in bank. So this is the very framework of a bank. This is how the bank works. There is a guy A and there is a guy B as per our scenario. Now when A gives credit, it creates debt. This is a very important thing in economics. It creates debt. So now this credit become asset of B, and this debt become liability of A. Have you understood this point or not? Because this is the point where UPSC came up with question in 2009 into prelims. If you are very clear about this point, just pause the slide right now and think about this point. Sorry. So let's now come to the credit worthiness. What is the credit worthiness? So let's continue with the example of A and B. Say if there is a guy called C also, and B is a bank, and bank has got, say for example, 100 from the deposits, and bank wants to lend this money. So bank can lend both 100 rupee, but say bank will give him at the rate of 8% for an example, and bank will give this at the rate of 9% to C. This is because C's credit worthiness is lower than A. This is only an example I am giving you as of now. So credit worthiness is the, what we can say, the credit worthiness is a quality check or his trustworthiness or his history, how good he is worthy to honor his payment to someone who has taken, or to someone from whom he has borrowed the money. So that is the worthiness. Now let's speak about the spending concept. This is also again most important concept. We have spoken about total spending in the past, that is cash plus credit. Say for example, there is A, there is now B, there is C, there is D, there is E, and this goes in whole economy. Say he is a buyer, he is a seller, he is a distributor, he is a producer, he is, say for example, the manufacturer, and this cycle goes and goes. Now what happens is, A buys something from B and A pays money. Say for example, he paid rupee 100 and he buys say X quantity. Now B has 100 rupee. Now what happens is, this B is earning, this 100 rupee is earning for B, and with this earning he will go to spend. Now what happened, this 100 is migrated to C. Now the earning of C is this earning. Then again whatever C has, then he will go and spend, he will go and spend, and he will go and spend. So what happens is, earning is becoming spending into cycle. So whatever you are earning today, so so it is getting spent. Understood? And wherever you are spending, it becomes earning for someone. Is this concept clear? So this is a cycle. It goes from earning to spending to earning to spending, and this cycle is the most important cycle. So today when we are saying that there is a slowdown in economy, it is because someone's earning has stopped, and because his earning has stopped, he is spending less. So because he is spending less, the guy to whom he wanted to spend, he is earning less, and this cycle is continuously rotating in future. So this is the concept of total spending. So hope you are very clear with the earning and spending cycle. So let's see if you can answer this question. In our last lecture we have given you a framework like how you can go and write the mains answer. So this is only a part 1 of a economic series, so we are not taking up the framework in this lecture, but you as a starter, as a beginner, you can start with this. Now we have understood about the banking, we have understood about the slowdown and how banks can help revive the slowdown. So start writing the answer, and we'll give you the framework post completion of this. So just practice writing. So now let's see the UPSC 2019 question. It was somewhere based on the assets of commercial bank. Just a point to note. So whenever we conduct a lecture, there is one slide always in our lecture which deals with UPSC prelims, past prelims questions. So where we take the economics questions and we explain you like how easy was that question to attempt, if your concepts are clear. So you can go back and check the lecture number 1 where we have discussed the framework for mains answer writing and the prelims questions as well. So now let's come back to the lecture. So this is UPSC 2019 questions on assets on commercial banks. So question was something like this. These were the options, and you wanted to tell like which of the following is not an asset of commercial bank. So now as we have discussed, so let's see from the commercial banking perspective this question. So advances. So advances is something, these are the loans which banks have given. Now we have seen like whenever you give credit to someone, it becomes asset to you, and whenever someone buys, it becomes liability for him. So it's an asset for the bank. So advances is an asset. Now let's speak about the investment. Investment is something where bank is putting their money into government bonds or G-Secs or the sovereign yields. So and whenever bank want, they can withdraw the money, so they can sell the stock and get the money back whenever they want. So again, this is an asset. Call money, this concept will do when we deal with the RBA. So as of now, you can think that bank is lending the money to the other bank at the call rates. So this is an override. So this is an overnight rate. So again, this is a lending money. So again, this will be an asset for the bank. Deposit is something which is not an asset for the bank. So there is a guy called A, he goes to the bank and he deposit his money to the bank. So if tomorrow if he comes and if he wants that money back, he can ask you that give my money back. So this becomes the liability for a bank. You understood? Yeah. So this is how the simple questions UPSC ask into prelims. If your concepts are clear, and we clear concepts help you achieve this mindset. So in our part 2, we will deal with the government, we will deal with the RBI, we will deal with the basic concepts in government and RBI. Most probably we will do with the fiscal deficit, and in terms of RBI we will deal with CRR, CRAR and repo rate, call rate and LAF and other things. So hope you are enjoying this lecture with us, and we want you to stay together and just help us grow, and we'll help you grow also. Thanks a lot.